Thank you very much. Okay, we got our time there. I'm the president of Ronin Blockchain, as I explained right there. I'm going to be fairly succinct and quick because I know many are battling to, one, get outside in the sunshine, and two, get out of the air-conditioned room. So you never know where I'm starting with the great one, as we're Canadians in most of the room here. The main point, I'm going to sort of show you where we think the puck is going in the industrial mining space, and I'm going to take a very sort of quick walk through where we think what's happening. First off, cryptocurrency mining, the general landscape, China still dominates. They have about 70% of the mining pools, 66% of the equipment comes from there, 50% of the energy consumed. They're not going anywhere. They are a big player, and they will continue to be a big player going forward. If you look at industrial mining market on a macro level, we think the key drivers are quite simple. Obviously, capital access being one, capacity availability, that's facilities, megawatts, and rigs, as well as labor. Efficiency, as usual, cost base and profitability. And then lastly, execution in your management team, how you can bring your plan forward. Now, if we look at the barriers of growth, they sort of push up against the drivers. One is capacity constraints. We have many companies out there trying to find megawatts availability. It's becoming more and more difficult. We've seen even in Quebec them pulling back on laying out that power right now. Also, that starts to roll into people having ability to deploy their capital. It might become tough. They can't access machines. They can't access power. They can't build. They can't mine. And lastly, many are trying to go into this and get around it by investing in infrastructure, building facilities, pulling lines and stuff, and it becomes quite expensive. So about us, we're a subsidiary of Data Matrix. We were founded in 2017, based in Vancouver. We have 2 mines that will be operating as of Q2 this year with 140 megawatts of capacity. And scale, and I'll go into that in a little more detail in the following slides. So the background of our team, as highlighted earlier, they explained where my background is, but we are a tech and investment DNA through and through. You'll see a couple of names you might recognize on the masthead with Gil Pacina, one of the early investors of Ripple, as well as LinkedIn, Kyle Campbell, from Zillow, as well as Mike Edwards and Jonathan Bixby from Mobio and GrowLab. So we are tech guys. We've been in this space for a long time, and we continue to see a huge amount of value coming out of this area. So how do we get 140 megawatts of capacity and scale up quickly? We did a partnership and an investment with a group out of China called GoSun. They're the number 3 data center in China, traded on the Shenzhen exchange. They have 60 data centers across China, of which we've worked with them to take a part of their excess capacity in key centers. So we're using their 3% excess capacity and placing our rigs into their facilities throughout China. Now, they're a major player. They work with Tencent. They host Alibaba. They've been around since 2006. And this relationship goes back to work we had done with them before in Asia. And they're looking to see how they could start to enter into the mining space. Now, what does that mean? It allows us to have capacity at a low cost base. We're working with them on a needs basis, so they do pass-through costing, and we scale as needed. So we're not having to buy out huge structures, pull wires, and develop in. We're using their excess capacity as we expand. So we have a low-cost environment. We have facility utilization. And by the end of this year, we could access 140 megawatts of capacity, which is roughly around 70,000 rigs. Now, usually the big elephant in the room is people say, whoa, China, that's scary. There's a lot of regulation. We think it's quite overstated for a couple of reasons. One, yes, China is banning exchanges and ICOs and unregulated wildcat mining. We feel they're doing that to provide some structure as they understand the industry. But if you look at what's going on their long-term plans, their long-term plans involve technology, they involve blockchain, and they're going to need to mine there. Additionally, they're not going to allow themselves to be superseded by Japan, South Korea, and other Asian nations as they set up mining. And if you just look at over the last 8 months from June to February, we've seen the hashing power go up in China. So they're not exiting as many of the reports have said. They're still there and they're still growing. Additionally, I mean, we do provide a controlled risk scenario for ourselves. We mine everything from a centralized NOC in Canada. We don't keep any IP in China or other nations that we mine in, so we have cold storage, IP security. What it allows us to do is we have a real-time centralized critical decision-making from this NOC, and allows us to forecast what we're going to mine, when we're going to mine, at the most optimized time, and allows our rigs to be optimized to about 99% uptime. So very quickly, in summary, there's sort of 4 things I want you to walk away thinking about Ronan. Is one, Ronan has abundant capacity. We have a definite cost advantage versus other, and we have an immense efficient use of capital. We have 140 megawatts available currently. We have turnkey facilities. We have the skilled labor. We're piggyback ordering with our partners at GoSun, so we get front-of-the-line acquisition of machines. 90% of our working capital goes directly into machines, so we're not building facilities or infrastructure, so we deploy capital well. And as well as that, we have a very geo-diversified platform of mining currently in Canada, mining in China, and we're looking at other geographies at the moment. And if you want to contact me, here's the number. Thank you very much.